Hey everybody, welcome to Power Hour with me, Ron Harris, and of course, Giles Tiger Thomas. And it's an exciting weekend in bodybuilding. It's the second to last chance to qualify for the Mr. Olympia at the Italy Pro. And Giles, this show is stacked. Let me show this list. It's a good one. It's a good one, guys. Would you say this could possibly be the best European show of the year so far?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So look at this. I mean, we're going to go through the guys, but like Louis Breed, Tim Budesheim, Quinton Beastwood, Quinton Eriya, Marc Hector, Matthias Hollweck, Urs Kalecinski, Theo Leguerrrier, Theo. Say it for me, Giles. Can you say it? Theo's name?
Theo Leguerrier.
Leguerrier. Okay. I'll just say it like
there you go.
I'm trying
to. You took 5 years, Ron. You took 5 years.
Well, I tried too hard to pronounce it the proper French way. I think that's the problem. Sergio Oliva, Emir Omeragic, William Martin. So, man, stacked lineup. Geez. So this is it. There's only one more chance after this, the following weekend, and then the Mr. Olympia is sealed. And we just found out, can we say that somebody's dropped out, or is it not official yet?
Go for it.
Okay, I heard Rafael Brandao is not going to be in the Olympia.
Oh, the Olympia. Yeah, to be honest, I spoke to Neil Hill a couple of months ago, and because he's had some gut issues, some stomach issues with his digestion and everything. And I asked Neil, and Neil didn't say don't put this out, but he said it's touch and go. He said because he's trying to play catch up. He says, and even if he does make it to the stage, I don't think he's had enough time because of this health issue to make any improvements, because he hasn't been able to take in any food in the off season, not enough to absorb, and his body, like a lot of these bodies. Brett Wilkin was telling me in Sweden, he had the same issues. That's why I had to pull out of the Olympia that 1 year. So, because obviously with bodybuilding, I mean, Jay Cutler talks about it a lot, about how much food you have to take in. And if your digestion and your enzymes and all that are not absolutely bang on, you're going to, and then about to start a prep with everything going on, then it's going to be tricky. So I think they did the right thing. But obviously I'm disappointed because he was 8th place last year. So he's gone from 10th to 22, to 8th place. He was in my top 10. Do you know what I mean? So he must be disappointed, but he'll be back, probably the Arnold.
Okay, we'll wish him the best. So I know it's weird to start the preview off with somebody who's never competed in the open division before, but Urs Kalecinski, the Miracle Bear, he is the one with a lot of eyes on him right now. It's a similar situation what we had where you were at the show in Prague last year, where Chris Bumstead made his open debut, and I think that was probably the only open appearance he'll ever make, personally. But the difference is we had just seen Chris a couple weeks before at the Olympia. We have not seen Urs Kalecinski in almost a year since the last Olympia, and this is the main topic. He says he's 35 pounds over his previous stage weight. Is that right?
Thereabouts, yeah. But he was 227 at the Olympia, because that's the maximum he could be. And he's saying that he messaged us, didn't he? He said, he replied to us and he said, I'm 260 stage ready now or something. That was a week or two ago. So maybe a couple of pounds off that, maybe by the time you drop water and everything, 255. I don't know, but I'm really torn about this one. I don't know how this one's going to go, mate, because we've never seen us anywhere near what he's claiming he will be. On stage. And the thing is, we've come to expect a certain level of conditioning from him. I'll be honest, he's not in my top 5. I don't see him as a factor in this show. I think he's going to look good. But, I know we had, say, Ronnie in 2002 to 2003, put like that 40 pounds on. But 25 of that was weight that he'd lost for the 2002 Olympia. Dorian, even when he put those 15 pounds on from 92 to 93, even that was some muscle that he'd lost to do the 92 Olympia. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like, I don't think I've ever heard of such a dramatic weight kind of increase with someone that actually will still end up looking good. So I don't see him coming in and battling with the likes of the caliber of this level of competition, of open competition, because he's really chosen a difficult show to do here to make his debut. Yeah. So for me, I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. But in all my 30 whatever years of experience in this industry, I just don't see him coming on looking like a fully fledged, really like huge 250, 260 open guy. I just don't see it. And I mean, like I said, this is something I'd love to be proved wrong on, but I don't see him as top 5. I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah. I mean, well, the one thing to consider is that he says he's been dieting off a lot of lean muscle tissue the past couple of years to make weight for Classic.
Sorry to interrupt, Ron, but hang on a minute. It was only a couple of years ago he said he was still a few pounds under the weight cap.
I don't know how long ago that was, but I do recall he was saying he still had 5, 8, something, 9 pounds to go. But
yeah,
the last
doesn't feel that long ago. It doesn't feel that long ago.
Yeah, but recently he has said that, I dieted. I had to lose 20 pounds of sheer muscle to make weight, and I'm not going to put my body through this anymore. So, yeah, this is I'm glad that he hasn't. This is like the closest to a physique update. This was 8 weeks ago, just training with Marcus Rule. He has posted no updates. He's staying covered up. He's leaving it a mystery. So you're going to get that wow factor, like when he walks out on stage. That's the first time you're going to see the new Urs Kalecinski, which I applaud him, because in this day and age, it's hard to keep things under wraps, because people, they hunger for it. They're like, no, let's see some updates. Let's see some posing. Let's see what you look like.
Do you think there's a possibility that he could completely ruin his physique, or coming off? Do you think that, or coming out of condition? Because when have we ever seen Urs? I've seen him in Prague. I've seen him up close. I've seen him at the Olympia. His conditioning is stellar. It's, literally a top 3 Olympia Classic guy, because all those guys are in condition. The whole top 15 are. I mean, you never see anyone in the top 15 in the Classic Olympia out of condition, which we do see in the 212 and we do see in the Open. So do you think there's any possibility that he's just not going to be on? I mean, because that kind of body, if he is that kind of body weight, and I'm not calling him a liar or anything, I'm just, but if he is coming at 255, 260, do you think there's any chance that he'll come in not like the Urs conditioning we've seen?
I'm going to say no, and it's just because he has been so consistent, and he's got a great coach, Stefan Kienzl, boss of Outlaw. I can't see them bringing him in off, and if he's markedly off, I would be very, very surprised. I mean, like I said, I've seen him from almost his first pro show, and I've seen him probably 6 or 8 times since then. Always in shape, super crisp, dry. I don't know if he's going to be that conditioned, but I can't see him being very far from that.
Ron, I'm going to say something that the Urs fans aren't going to like now. If you look at his front double bicep from 23 to 24, I think his front double bicep had more shape and better lines in 23 before he put that little bit of extra size on. I actually think last year, he lost some detail in his back. I felt like some of his lines were lost. Look at that front double bicep. It was an angled up stage shot. But if you compare it to 24, he was bigger, yes, but he wasn't as detailed, and I don't think his shape was as good. So now you're saying you want to put another 30 pounds on top of that. I mean, we've seen guys like Samson, also Martin Fitzwater, that have managed to get bigger and also not just maintain their aesthetics, but actually improve them. Yeah. I'm just really worried that if he's 30 pounds heavier, he's going to lose all his shape and he's just going to get lost in the mix. So, because from my experience, and also don't forget, we have not, like you said, Ron, we have nothing to go on. So I'm not an Urs hater, far from it. I love the guy. He's an absolutely fantastic athlete. Yeah. But I just the signs for me, unless there's some fibs being told, some porcupines being told, I just don't see him coming on it, looking 260 and wiping the floor with everyone, or even being first call out. But like I said, I'd love to be proved wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that there's this mystery, because rarely do we get that these days. This is a guy we have not seen in a year, and he's moving up supposedly all this stage weight and a whole new class. It's very exciting, and in a way, he's just like Chris brought a lot more excitement to the Prague show last year, Bumstead. This was already a very good show with an excellent stacked lineup. He just added another level of interest, I think. Now a lot of the classic fans, and Urs has millions of fans around the world, they're going to be paying attention Sunday to this show in Milan. But let's not make it all about it.
Hang on. Thing is, think about how good Bumstead looked with 6 extra pounds, because he was 241.5 at the Olympia and he was 248 in Prague. I mean, he looked. I had him winning. Right. And now you're saying that Urs is going to be coming 30 pounds heavier, and I realize a lot of it's kind of regained lost tissue. It's not it's not all new tissue.
Right.
So and like I said, I heard some. I mean, I got some rumors, and I felt, because I messaged him back and forth. I think last year he really struggled mentally with getting down to the 227 he needed to be on stage. So I imagine this has taken a lot of pressure off for him. I'm really got my fingers crossed for him. I really do, because even if he doesn't make top 5, it's not a disaster, because there's no way he probably would have made the Olympia anyway as classic. So I respect the fact that he's taking that leap, and I also appreciate the fact that he's given us a lot of excitement, us fans, a lot of excitement and a lot of anticipation, and we've all been talking about and discussing it and calling each other idiots when we disagree. And, no, I like it. It kind of makes the sport exciting. Like when Bumstead did Prague, I mean, that sold. I was there. It sold the place out within something like an hour and a half or something. All the remaining tickets were sold. It was just, the excitement that brings when you see these guys jumping over. Like when Clarida did the Legion and did open and beat Regan and beat Sergio. It's like, I love stuff like this. It generates excitement. And he could have just played it safe, and he probably could have found ways to keep his body weight back in the off season, so it wasn't so he could make like Wesley and all these, and Ramon, all these other guys really, and Chris, so they have to really, pull back on their body weights. But I really respect the fact he's done this.
Yeah, so that's exciting. And Quint Beastwood, this is another amazing story because he decided to go over to the UK, and he's staying with Mr. Olympia, Samson Dauda, and his wife Marlena. And he's made it clear that they're not Marlena's not coaching him. He doesn't think he's ever going to have a coach again. He's very confident that he wants to do this on his own moving forward. But they've been obviously training together, putting out content, just having that opportunity for a guy like Quint to stay with Mr. Olympia for weeks at his home, amazing. Train with him, eat with him, learn the mindset, everything. And I honestly thought he was going to do the France show when he said he was going to do another show, because that would be the first qualifier for 2026 Olympia.
Yeah.
But then he came out and said, no, I'm doing the Italy show, which would be obviously his goal is to win this and get to the Olympia, which is 5.5 weeks away at this point. So here's his latest updates from yesterday. So tell me, what's the Tigers' take on this?
He looks good. I mean, obviously, in what was the two shows? Texas and Tampa, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Tampa, second place, Texas, third place.
Yeah. So, sorry, Texas was first, wasn't it?
Tampa was first.
Yeah, because Tampa. Sorry, that's of course. So yeah, Tampa looked good, but obviously he kind of flattened out as the day went on. He came out strong, but he faded. In the Texas, he came in fuller, but obviously lacked that conditioning that he kind of had at Tampa. So if he gets that combination right, obviously he is the favorite coming into this. Because if he can maintain, because he's nearly there, isn't he? He's only it's only like you can squint with Quint. And squint at Quint, and you can basically gauge, you can see the silhouette, you can see the symmetry, you can see the proportions. I mean, he's, in condition, nice and full, nailing it on the day. He's going to be very, 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 very tough to beat. And I love the fact that he's been doing this with Samson, because I think that's, and all the thing is, you said about no coach, he's had Samson, Marlena, Andrea Presti was there, Mauro Sassi was there for some of it. Yeah. They've all, and I've seen all the photos and videos of him posing, and they're all giving their take. And the thing is, when you're prepping, that's all you need, I think. If you know what you're doing and you've got to that point anyway, you don't need to take on a coach at the last few minutes. You've got Samson looking at you, tweaking your posing, looking, say, yeah, your condition's exactly where it needs to be. Your lower back's got a bit on it. Maybe let's diet a bit hard. Let's drop the carb. Let's bump up the cardio a little bit. You're just getting feedback back from people that really know what they're doing, because at the end of the day, Samson's Mr. Olympia, Andrea Presti, Mauro Sassi there in the background. I mean, he's going to be giving his take. They're going to be just sat with each other discussing diet and protocols and stuff like that, and drying out and filling out. So I think this was the best thing that Quint could have done to basically secure a win and a qualification. And I really applaud him for doing that. It'd be cool. He has to be the front runner, but I think he's got some. I think there's one or two guys that could give him a lot of problems if he's not absolutely better than he was at Tampa in Texas.
Oh, absolutely. And this is one of those shows where the American fans sort of get a little comeuppance, thinking, well, Quint's Canadian, so let's just call it North American.
Go on, man. That side of the water.
I think a lot of us have this arrogance that the good American bodybuilders can go over there and wipe the floor with these Europeans. No. There's some guys here that are deadly. They're very, very dangerous. But
hang on, he's done. I remember doing commentary on Quint in Romania. What was it, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
So he's done it before. He's not afraid to do it. And I to be honest, I wish more Americans, more Canadians, more Brazilians, or whatever, would come over to Europe, because I like the fact that he's not just chasing the qualification, but he's testing himself. And his thing is, he must have seen the lineup and must have heard the names going in, thinking, you could have tactically chosen. I think it's all three of these European shows are going to be stacked, mate. They're going to be really, really good. I mean, you've seen, they've got like Sergio in it and everything. So it's there's big names coming into the show. This isn't going to be, if he gets the win, it's not going to be an easy win for him. It's going to be a very, 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 it's probably as tough a lineup as Tampa or Texas. That's basically what I'm saying.
Oh, I agree. And I want to clarify just before people twist my words. That arrogance was on the part of the fans. I didn't say American bodybuilders thought they could go over there.
Right.
Because someone's going to twist my words and make an Instagram.
Somebody is.
So I wish Quint the best. I mean, this is he could have easily wrapped it up after Texas says, you know what, guys, I'll see you next year. Back to the drawing board. That's what most guys would have done.
Yeah.
And he's been prepping a long time, but he's still keeping it going. So
I don't care whether he wins, loses, gets first, second, third, or fourth. I just want to see him. The combination at Tampa and Texas, it was nearly quite there. It was two different looks. One was a slightly fuller look. Another one was a not so full look, but it was nice and dry and good condition. Yeah. But I just want to see him get up there, look like, holy shit, okay, that's the guy. He's the guy to beat now. But I want to see him also try and hold it through the day, because you've seen how he faded in Tampa. Yeah. He came out really strong and then he just kind of just dipped off towards the end. So if he can bring a really good look to the stage and maintain it, which you'll need to do against this level of competition, yeah, he could win this.
Yeah, and I'm sure Mauro and Samson and Marlena, they've been discussing that, because
exactly
everyone, everybody knows Simpson. Quinton's fullness can be an issue. Maintaining it, he's a big, tall guy, long limbs. So wish him the best. Let's move on, because this show is stacked. So let's keep it going. Coming from the USA, where is he, Sergio? I know I got you down here. So many people on my list here. Yeah, Sergio Oliva Jr. We haven't seen him on stage in a bit. His latest updates, I believe this is the latest ones we have from yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I know this is one of his best shots anyway, but I'm impressed with what I'm seeing.
I think this, if these photos are anything to go by, I think we might be looking at the best Sergio we've seen since 2017. Which, at the end of the day, let's face it, he needs to kind of have a new best look, because he kind of cut, like he came into FIBO, he came in good, but he was flat. Remember, he did the Legion a couple of years ago. He looked totally flattened out. If he can come in nice and full and crispy, then Quint's in trouble. Quint's in trouble. If he's not bang on, and Sergio is, then because Sergio probably, who do you think is the bigger guy? Who, Quint or Sergio on stage? Who do you think looks bigger?
I mean, I know in terms of body weight, I know Sergio's heavier. Sergio hits the stage at, I want to say, about 270 or something, 275. He's a big guy. They're different looks. Quint definitely has the better aesthetics. Quint is just so gifted with the shape, the small joints, that tiny waist. This is going to be a battle. This is going to be a battle.
They've both got very similar structures. If you look at it, the wide shoulders, the small waists, big quads. They've both got good calves. It's I think then they are good from the back, but I wouldn't say they're the best in the world from the back, but they're good. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's going to be interesting comparison. Like if those two turn up and they're literally at their best ever, it's going to be interesting to see those trade poses, because I think it's going to be pretty close. So, but and also like Sergio, he's like I said, he needs a good showing, a really good showing that kind of wipes out the last few where he's kind of not quite got the look right, the ratio right. So I really hope he nails it for this one.
Yeah, because fans they're brutal, and they've been calling this guy washed up and he's never going to make it. But we both know it just takes one really good showing, one.
Yeah.
And everybody changes their tune, and now they're on the bandwagon and they love you again. So this could be that show.
Because most fans won't even remember when he won the 2017 New York Pro, which was that was his pro debut. So most of the people aren't even going to, even if they remember it, they're not going to remember how good he was at that show. So, and do you know what I also hope? I hope he really puts a good posing routine together, because Sergio is such a competent poser. I think sometimes I've seen shows, I think he just wings it, makes it up on the spot. And I think seriously, guys like that, like Cedric used to do that, and his posing was amazing. But I think sometimes those are the guys that really do need to put the effort in, because if they're that competent at the transitions and the level of posing, it's better when you know that you watch this and you think, yeah, he's put a few weeks of effort into this, not just got on stage and like Theo does that. Theo's another one who gets on stage and wings it, and he puts beautiful pose routines together. But when I actually feel disappointed when I hear that they just wing it on stage, like what Cedric used to, because I think if you really, really put a couple of weeks, even just a couple of weeks of effort into it, you could put something together really special that would stand out so far from the rest. So, I really, really hope that. But I wish him well, Sergio, because like I said, he's been around a few years and he is good.
And he's it should be said he's much larger now than when he made his pro debut in 2017. He's got to have it. Oh, yeah, definitely. Because I was there in New York.
Okay. Well, wow. There you go.
It's not dramatic. He hasn't put on like 40 pounds, but it's noticeable. I could see it. And it also should be said he won Best Poser at the Arnold a couple of years back. And if that was done impromptu on the spot, that's amazing that he could do that.
But do you get my point, though? Because like some of these guys, they're so good at posing and they're so instinctive. Like Kevin Nerone said, I never really used to practice routines until I got backstage. And then, because I photographed him once, 2002 Olympia. Yeah. And it's like you can see they're actually just putting it together backstage. And sometimes I think, okay, if you're that competent, go really put something together. Like Samson's Olympia routine was beautiful because he's a competent poser, and you could see that he put effort into the beat of the music, the transitions, and it was just I had tears in my eyes watching it because it was that powerful. So I think someone like Sergio, I think he's capable of pulling off something that would really wow the crowd.
Well, here's his T-shirt, guys. If you want to, he's got a clothing line, the Victory Clothing. If you want to pick up this shirt, I can't even tell what's going on in that picture.
That's nice.
So that's him on the left or him on the right. I can't really tell what's going on. It looks like a comic book.
It's good. Anyway, I wonder if Kai drew that for him.
It certainly. Kai's a very talented artist. I wouldn't be surprised. Very
beautiful.
Talented. All right, let's move it along because we got more amazing guys. And here's another one. I have 9 guys in my top 5, but there's only a few that I think are definitely capable of winning. There's I could probably count them on my hand. This guy, Marc Hector, from the UK. This is someone who's going to, there's a client who's going to shock a lot of people.
100%, Ron. I saw him at that Cubas thing I took Terence Ruffin to back in May. And as soon as he was walking on the stage, I was like, holy shit, this guy's been doing something quite special with his physique. Because I remember when he turned pro and I've got the 2018 Amateur Olympia in my head in UK, I'm sure it was Coventry. And I remember looking at him thinking, oh my God, this guy is going to be something really special. The beautiful wide shoulders, the small kind of narrow waist. But for me, his whole entire lower body lacked. His calves, his glutes, his hamstrings, his quads, his adductors, his sweep. It just looked like 2 different bodies. And he really needed to bring, and he has brought it up over the years, but the dramatic kind of improvements he's made to his lower body in the last year, it doesn't, if you could compare him from a few years ago, the lower body, the whole posterior chain, I don't think you think it was the same guy. So I really applaud him for doing that because that must have taken real effort. And also what he's gone through with his shoulder as well, because the fact that he managed to compete with a shoulder issue and not have one atrophied shoulder is, I can't imagine the mental strength it took to get through that. So to be honest, I think if Quint's not on, I can see Marc winning this actually.
Yeah. And, I remember you saying not that long ago, when he turned pro or started competing as a pro, you thought he would be where Samson would be at this point, but he had the shoulder issues that he had to get through. So there's still time. There's still time for this guy to be one of the very, very best.
Yeah, I think people like Quint and Marc kind of remind me of where Samson was in 2022. Kind of they're moving up, but the potential for them to break through to that next ceiling and take them to the very, very top level is really there. I feel like they're really just nearly quite there. So it all obviously depends upon what they'll be doing in the next couple of years in terms of improving and, because at the end of the day, you can see guys that improve, but sometimes the improvements slow down and they stop. So if he can keep moving forward and get a win here, get an Olympia appearance, and beat someone like Quint, who let's face it, 90% of people think he's gonna breeze in and take this one. I think this will really, really help him. So, but I think regardless, he'll be in condition, and I think he'll hold his peak really well, and I think he'll be a front runner 100%.
Well, this was guest posing in early July. He was in this condition early July.
Yeah.
So.
Hang on, when was it? I did the tour with Terence Ruffin, the Olympia All-Star Tour. He was. I mean, he had his prep food there and everything. I mean, he was in good condition up on stage. He was absolutely. We got Terence Ruffin and Marc next to him. We got them both up on stage in the pose down. They got all the clients because there were a lot of them were competing. They did like a massive pose down, and I was just sat on the floor like it's only a little stage, and I was just looking like because Terence, like I'd seen Terence in the gym the day before, my gym locally, doing some posing and getting for his Instagram and everything, his YouTube. And I was like, I mean, when you see these guys up close, it's just mind-boggling. That's a classic. That's a top classic guy. And then when you see a really good open guy, then you realize how much of a size difference there really is. But this one, I mean, Terence obviously looks incredible. He just competed the week before the New York Pro and the Pittsburgh. And then Marc, I mean, this was back in May he was in this condition. Look at it.
Yeah. So condition's not going to be an issue for Marc Hector.
No. And I think the condition could help him beat Quint, to be honest. If Quint's not on, then Marc could easily play. I think easily place over Quint. If Quint's not bang on, which I think he will be, or very close to it, I think Marc could take him purely on things like condition.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. That's why we speculate. That's all we do is speculate. But it's fun because these human bodies they fluctuate. Guy can look amazing the day before, or not so great the day before, and things change so drastically in 24 hours at times, or even less.
Well, look at Samson. I mean, I couldn't decide. I didn't have him as a winner at the prejudging at the Olympia last year, but then he came back to the finals, and I was like, he's got it. It's a wrap.
Okay. Well, here's another big dude, Emir Omeragic from Germany. Look at that. That is proper conditioning. This is a week ago. Massive guy. The legs look fantastic from the side. I do remember from the front, they're not quite as impressive, but this was Texas. Here he is with Bruno and Kareth on stage. So this was just a couple weeks. And he's another guy that I'll tell you what, not only do a lot of these European pros have the gumption, I've been waiting to use that word for a while, gumption, to go to the US and compete, but they will do multiple shows throughout an entire season, whereas a lot of the U.S. bodybuilders, they'll pop up once, and that's it. They're done for the year. We're seeing less and less of that. I'm glad to see people competing more, but Emir is a guy that will do spring shows, summer shows, fall shows.
I wasn't disappointed with what Emir brought to the last couple of shows he did, but I knew that he needed a couple more. I knew it would take. When I saw the first one, I thought, it's going to take him probably one or two more shows to really show the Emir that I'm used to seeing, in some of these European shows where he absolutely nails it because he's very consistent with his conditioning, and I think he's a guy that I think he'll be better than he was at Texas anyway. So I think I tell you what. One thing we're not talking about here is the German team. Like if Urs beats all these other Germans, that in itself is a win because you've got guys like Emir, you've got guys like Tim Budesheim and another guy we're going to mention. But I mean, Urs is in like kind of two competitions here because he's going up against like well-established, really who've had well-documented kind of good placings in pro shows, open shows that have been around for a few years. So really, even if he beats any of these German guys, I think that's going to be a huge feather in his cap because people like Emir and Tim, these guys are absolutely no joke. So, yeah. Oh,
the German guys, the Germans are almost dominating this show already in terms of the top tier guys that are in the lineup, which is odd. Italy, it's in Italy. There are a good amount of Italian pros in it, but we don't have Presti. We don't have what's Presti, Muzzy. They're the top two. The two Andreas are the top two open Italian pros. I'm really surprised neither one of them did it.
Yeah, look at his calves.
Yeah, he's a beast. And I've stood next to him. He's about 6 foot tall. He's not a small guy.
I remember when I went on stage at the Big Man weekend, the Angel Calderon one in 21, because we did the commentary, and we went on stage and did a video, and he kind of I was doing the wrap up for MD, and then he kind of video bombed it, and he came in. And I remember just kind of being stood because I've been watching him from up on the balcony for like the whole day. Yeah. And then I didn't because he was only like 22 or 21 at the time.
Yeah, he's only 26 now. He's still a kid.
Yeah, and he was kind of like jumping in. He was making a few kind of did like a little mini impromptu kind of talk with him in the middle of the wrap up. Yeah. And because he was there literally holding his check and his trophy and everything. And he was I didn't realize how big he was. I mean, he was just like I physically got off, because he's tall as well, like you said, and he's a really And that was at 21. He had that much density and size and quality size and conditioning separation at that age. So, I think, like I said, it's his third show on the trot now. So I expect him to be better than he was at the others because I know how good he is.
All right. Well, let's stay on the German theme while we're at it, because this guy, Tim Budesheim, and he corrected, it's not Budesheim, it's Budesheim. I didn't know what was going on with him. I didn't know if he was taking the whole year off or whatever, because we haven't seen him all year. And I remembered he was a guy that would do several shows throughout a season and always consistent, usually a top 5 guy.
You've seen him in loads of shows. I remember your Chicago Pro pictures. Yeah. I think he was 8th there or something. And these shows. I mean, he's done loads. I mean, you've seen him probably on stage more than I have, and he's a European.
Yeah, he's done New York Pro a couple times. I know that's first time. I know he's done Chicago, Tampa, but I mean, this is I don't know if he looks bigger to me, but it's been so long since I've seen him. I'm not sure if I just forgot how good he is, how big, and because he had sort of leveled up over the past couple of years and put on some more size.
He's big. He's conditioned. He's one of these guys that probably no one's talking about coming into this. There's him and one other guy that really not many, well, actually 3 guys in this show that I think cannot be underestimated. Because like I know that people are like talking about the more popular names like Urs Quint, and that's kind of all they're talking about. But Tim is one of those 3 guys that I think needs to not be underestimated, because when he gets on stage and he starts hitting those compulsories, if those other guys, those bigger names arguably are not on, they're gonna get their asses kicked, mate. Because I'm telling you, Tim like you've seen Tim in the flesh. I've seen Tim in the flesh. I saw him when he turned pro in San Marino 2017. He was 4th behind Brandon Curry. Hadi was 2nd. Cedric Millen was 1st, and there was like 30 in the lineup. It was a big lineup, and he just turned pro the day before. He took 4th place, and he was a lot smaller than he is now. But he's one of the kind of the under the radar guys that even though he competes a lot, no one's really talking about him. So I kind of like that, because if he comes in and he does really, really well and gets like a top 5, possibly say he cracks top 3. I mean, that's not unachievable. Yeah. Then it's you kind of root for those guys, because they're kind of, like I said, they get some love even if it's only from the judges.
Yeah, I mean, structurally he's not as gifted as someone like Quint, because almost nobody is.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that tiny waist like Quint, but it's that mature, grainy, hard muscle. So much dense muscle, and he's every time I saw him, he was bang on in terms of condition.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen him where he's done like Emir, where he's done like 4 or 5 shows in a row, and where he started, he's kind of fantastic, full, big, but then from the back you could see that his glutes, his hamstrings, his back could be crisper, and then as the shows go along, he just gets better and better and better. But that's what I like about these European guys. They're not afraid to compete, like you said about Emir. I mean, I know where is Emir living now? Is he back in Germany or Brazil? Because he was in Brazil for a while.
Oh, geez.
He was back and forth there with training, because he was there. He had got an apartment by himself for a couple of months, and he was out there training. That's when I interviewed him once. He was in a cafe in Brazil. Huh. And but Tim's a cool guy as well. I've interviewed him, and it's funny because when he didn't understand certain words, he was using the translate thing on his phone, and he had a really bad cold, so he was just constantly blowing his nose and checking the phone. So there's all these really awkward long pauses at the interview. But God, I saw him compete as a junior at the Arles Europe back in 2011 in Madrid, and he was. I mean, it was funny because when he walked out in the juniors, I was sat with Flex Wheeler. I was covering it for Flex Wheeler for MD. When he walked out, I mean, it just looked like a man amongst boys. I mean, he's been. And if you look at his even his amateur record, I mean, he's a really deadly competitor, and I like the fact he competes so much as well. So he's a badass. Yeah,
well, I wish him well. I liked him. I've interviewed him. When I interviewed him, his English was pretty damn good. I mean, it's always better than my German.
But think about it. Urs has got to go up against guys like this, established guys who've been pro for 8 years. They're placing next to, like Mr. Olympias and stuff, and they're in first call-outs. It's like people are just assuming that Urs is going to come in and just wipe the floor with all these other guys. So I think don't underestimate people like Tim, because, just because Urs is more popular, it doesn't mean he's better, even if, like I said, we don't know what he's going to bring yet. So.
Exactly. I mean, that's the only. I'm not going to say that's the only. I was going to follow the show anyway, but I'm sure myself and so many other people were just dying to see what Urs looks like.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get a couple of wrong Harris and wrong Thomases on this one. Yeah, but the thing is, isn't that fun though? Because at the end of the day, if we're right about everything every single time, it just makes it predictable and boring, and I don't want it to be that.
So here we have Matthias Hollweck, another amazing German competitor. And you were sat up front for this one, doing the commentary in Prague. So you got a front row seat to see how good Matthias is. I think he ended up fourth,
Yeah, well, think about it. Fourth was Martin Fitzwater. Second was Bumstead. Third was Sean Clarida.
Yeah.
And fourth was Matthias. I mean, he was actually crying backstage because he was so happy. Because when he went that first call out, you've never seen, it was, I've seen it before where someone's got in a first call out, not expected to be in a first call out. And you're just buzzing off their energy because they're like, oh my God, I'm in first call out with these guys, this caliber of guys. It's a real acknowledgement. And don't forget, a year before, he was classic.
Wow, no, I did not remember. I did not. Yeah,
so maybe he was another guy that struggled to make classic, did the jump, and ended up getting fourth in his first open show. So I like him as well. He's a cool guy. He sometimes comments and likes on my comment and stuff on Instagram and everything, which are always a winner, guys. But yeah, he's really, really good. And obviously, fourth place in Prague, his confidence is going to be high. He's going to put a lot into this prep. And also, don't forget, it's really technically only his first year in the Open. And he's already secured a really good placing against very, very good competition. So, and the thing is, because he's just fresh out the Classic, he poses like a Classic guy. Look,
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. I can see you thinking it.
Look at the poses. I mean, most Open guys can't even hit some of these poses he's hitting. And
the thing is, we've got like Samson as a Mr. Olympia. And the thing is, all these Classic... Open guys with classic lines is kind of all the rage right now.
True. Yeah. So Matthias, yeah, I'm expecting. Yeah, I don't want to say first call. Who knows? Like I said, I have 9 guys. This is a tough show. If he could be in the first call out for this, if he could make top 5 in this show, he's doing very, very well.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it going. We mentioned Brazil. I'm always looking for some sort of transition that makes sense. This is William Martins from Brazil. He is a big guy. This is his most recent update. I think he's a taller guy. I don't think I've ever actually seen him compete in person. Obviously, a lot of muscle mass. I'm trying to see a full some like posing stuff on him.
I think he's got some of the best shots in the industry. The side chest and side tricep is like unbelievable. Like if you look at his lines, it's like, when certain physiques come together in certain poses, those side shots, he really, really comes together. But Ron, you're actually breaking my heart with who you haven't mentioned yet.
Oh, I hope I get to him. Oh, Theo. Well, it's because I can't.
Hang on, Legrand from Arch. Let's give him the proper introduction.
Oh well, hold on. Let's let William finish his posing here. Legrand
okay.
fromage is cheese, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, apparently, I'm acknowledged as being the one that gave him that nickname. Because I get I think I've been getting regular updates from his dad for the last few weeks.
You speak French, don't you, Giles?
Oui.
Oui. I mean, would you consider yourself fluent?
No, not even slightly.
Okay, I mean that's like my Spanish. I can fake it for about 5 minutes and then it all falls apart.
Yeah, a few women like that.
All right, so yeah, we're talking about Theo Leguerrrier. You sort of roll the R's like Spanish, so that I can do. I can pronounce Spanish all day. Yeah, this was 3 days ago. Theo from France, very consistent guy. I don't recall him ever being out of the top 5 at a show. Do you?
I was just about to say that. I was going to say, Ron, apart from the Olympia, can you tell me if he's ever been outside of the top 5 in any show? And this isn't the guy that just does 1 or 2 European shows a year. He's done Puerto Rico. He's done the New York Pro. He's done Chicago. I mean, he's done every single. I think he's probably done almost every single Open Pro show over the years. And this is a guy that would do 5, 6. What was he did? 9 shows or something in a year or something. It was something ridiculous. I remember putting on the on my Global Muscle. It was on the title. It was something like top 5 in last 9 shows that he'd done. So I think that in itself, because I've written about it in my column in the magazine, I said, I'm not sure that anyone has a track record quite that good, for a guy at his level, that's and he has won pro shows, he's won Spain, he's done Olympias. And the thing is, I think I really started to appreciate Theo when I saw him do that Puerto Rico Pro, and he was posing next to Akeem Williams, and you'd have thought that Akeem would have completely dwarfed him, and he didn't. Yeah. That's when I was like, okay, Theo is actually, because in videos when he's by himself, he looks big, but he doesn't look big.
Right.
But it's how at the end of the day, it's a sport of comparison. So when he stands on next on stage to someone like an Hakeem and he's holding his own with size and and he's got good aesthetics, he's got no injuries, he's got nothing missing. He always brings good condition. His posing's always good. He's always very polished. He's a very polished competitor. It's just everything, the tan, the skin, everything. He looks, like I said, I think he's another guy like Tim that isn't talked about enough, but it doesn't really matter because when the judges see him, they'll place him accordingly. And I would eat my fromage if he didn't make the top 5.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say he looks better in comparisons next, because most guys are the opposite. You see them on Instagram in these reels, these posing updates looking fantastic, but when they get up on stage next to a lot of times bigger men, it's like, well, he's not really as good as I thought he was. I mean, he is, but not. It's a sport of comparison. He's up there with 20 guys who most of them are outsizing him. So
thing is, I mean, you've got guys like Quint who's off on, can come out looking good, but then he loses fullness, or he comes in fuller, but he loses condition. Theo never gets it wrong. I mean, he's never had it wrong. He's never been off or watery or full or or bloat. He never messes up. So whatever he does with his prep, I'd say he's probably one of the most consistent open pros there is.
Yeah.
Not just in Europe, but internationally, because he's proven himself internationally. So, I mean, it's not inconceivable that someone like Quinn could get beat by someone like Theo. I don't think I'm going to put it out there. I don't think it's an impossibility at all.
No, not at all. I mean, if anyone who thinks that they don't know Theo. And I mean, like I said, a lot of the American fans I know he has competed here, but they're just not overly familiar. I mean,
they should. Oh, come on. They should be by now. Come on. He's been around for years.
Maybe I'm not giving the American fans enough credit. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think he's, it's the end of the day. What do we go by? We sometimes either go by where they place in Olympia or their track record. And if you actually looked at his track record and all the shows that he's done, all the times that he's tested himself, he's never been off. And apart from the Olympia, to the best of my knowledge, he's never been out the top 5. And that is a serious competitor that someone like Quinn and Mark and all these other guys cannot underestimate.
Well, let's give some love to the United Kingdom. We got Lewis the Brick Breed
Monster
coming back. So this was top 3 Temple Pro. That was the year before. Yeah, he's come stateside a few times to compete. This was a great look for him at the Texas show last year, right? Yeah. Again, another just dense, thick, grainy physique. That British work ethic shines through here.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
no, I was gonna say he's been top 3 at one of the shows, I believe. Was he 3rd at Texas? 4th?
He was 3rd, 4th, but he was right up there. He was like next to Andrew Jacked and and Jordan Hutchinson and stuff like that. But he was holding his own. I mean, he's a front. Thing is, I mean, the fact that we're even talking about him kind of last in a lineup like this shows you just how great the lineup is. And don't forget, he was coming off that car accident, because he broke his hand and everything. Not long after I saw him, actually, because I took Terence to Tilda and what's his name? The 212 guy, Dean White's gym down in the right on the south of England, and he did the 2-hour drive there and back to come up and support us and see Terence, and he stripped off actually after he trained, and my eyes were just out on stalks. He is in the flesh. He's an absolute monster, and he's always in condition. He's fierce. This guy, he's a real fierce competitor, and I think, like I said, there's a guy that won't be off. But how can we say the same for a lot of these other guys who are arguably bigger names or more popular or whatever you want to call it? So I think he's chose well doing this show, because he potentially can rub out a few big names there.
Yeah, I mean, he gives me a little bit of the Branch Warren vibe.
Yeah,
just a little thick, monstrous, hard training pit bull.
Yeah, he's just a workhorse. This guy. I remember raving about him in 2011 when he got 3rd in the heavyweights, the British finals. And I took a picture, and he used it as profile picture on his social media for years. I remember just saying, God, this guy needs to keep going. He was only 23 at the time. And I was like, and then he took a few years off and took like 7 years off and had a couple of kids and stuff. And and then came back, got his pro card, and he's just been excelling ever since. And I like Lewis as well. I actually messaged him today, actually, because he's going to be at the GASP, the NPC Sweden show in a couple of weeks. And I said, look, I'm the lead host now for the for the live stream commentary. I said, why don't you jump on with me for a class? Because we did that with Branch, we did it with Guy Sistinino once. We basically we either took a break or we did it with them. And I said, come on, mate, jump on a class with me. I said, jump on the heavyweights or something, or supers. I said, and we can sort of moan about how we only like really, really good British or European conditioning. I said we can bitch and moan for the guys that aren't in condition.
That's hilarious. Okay, we got one more guy in the open to mention. So Lewis is not last. Let me find him here. Where's Mo? Okay, yeah, Mohammed Mansour. Where's he from? He's in Germany, but I'm assuming he's from somewhere else. I'm just going to take a wild guess with that name. But I know I've seen him before. I know I've seen him compete before.
You have.
Another guy that's conditioned, I'm sure, is going to be – there's a few guys that I've seen that I know they've always been in condition every time I've seen them. Sometimes they get outmassed or outshaped or whatever the case may be, but this guy's very consistent.
He's had top threes.
Oh, has he?
Yeah. I was like Italy or Dubai. It was one of these shows, like he's had some thirds, fourths. So he's probably improved as well. So he's going to be, I just, you know what? I mean, remember the excitement around Tampa, Dubai, the shows where they're just like, oh my God, there's like 6, 7, 8 guys that really theoretically are good enough to win, not just a pro show, but, this show, and depends who's on and who's off, It's nice to see such like deep lineups, when you see more than, sort of 10 guys, but like, say 8 of them are, sort of, or like, 80% of them are real sort of top competitors, not kind of like guys that make up the numbers, Yeah,
that's what we call, just for the fans that might not know, when we say like a lineup is deep, that means there's probably about 10 or more guys that are really, really good. Whereas there are shows, the winner's good, but after second and third place, the quality dramatically drops off. This is not going to be one of those shows.
I've seen pro shows in Europe where there's been 30 guys on stage and really maybe 8 to 10, are kind of really, I mean, and some you think, how do you even get a pro card? Do you know what I mean? It's just some guys you think, did you even diet? But I think this lineup, I think it's going to be, I think it's a good show. And it's nice to see actually how this show has grown because, Barbara, the promoter, she's done a really good job of building the show actually. So it's nice to see it getting support and obviously the timing of these shows. I think that's what it comes down to. A lot of these competitors, sometimes, and if they've had a good experience or they've heard competitors speak well about it, they'll, but the thing is that it's the last couple of shows, so it's going to be competitive.
Yeah. So just want to give people the info. It's happening Sunday in Milan. If you want to get the web, what do I call it? Live stream, webcast, whatever you want to call it. If you want to watch the show, go to www.ifbbproitaly.info. Also, IFBB Pro Italy is the Instagram. I'm sure there's links to all that stuff there.
Ron?
Yes.
I really hope they do a good live stream because this show has not had a good history for having a good quality live stream. So I hope they've brought in like professionals rather than like an iPad on a tripod, with one camera angle. I hope they really, because the thing is, when you've got this kind of quality, and you want to keep building things, you've got to implement these kinds of things for the fans. Because imagine, there's Yarn UK a few years ago, and Andrew Jack and all these superstars, and they went through a live stream, and it's like, what a waste, just sort of the sake of, there's so many live stream companies out there now doing this, and all the promoters, they should really communicate, or if they see, Prague or Romania doing good live streams, or Sweden, they should say, look, who do you use, So because it's good for us fans to follow having proper live streams and rather than just, on, photos and videos from Gilco or these other people,
Sometimes they don't even, occasionally they don't even have a live stream.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Well, how can you not have a live stream? It's not that. I know it's a little extra expense, but it's not. You could certainly make your money back with the pay-per-view buys, at least to cover it.
But promoters get bollocked. They get a really telling off if they don't do live streams,
Rightfully so.
It's commonplace today, isn't it? People expect it.
Let's change subjects to the next Olympia that was just announced with Big Bad Wolf, Dennis Wolf.
Yep.
This was a little unexpected. I got to say, I'm very happily surprised that you put this tour together. How did it come to be?
Well, Chris suggested it, and the guy he comes on the tour with me. He takes care of the merchandise and all that, so all the T-shirts and stuff like that. And plus, it's nice to have somebody else on the tour and somebody else to rely on, and have a backup and everything, and to travel with. And he suggested Lee, and I was like, "What do you think?" And obviously, those were wildly successful. And he said Dennis, and I was like, "Yeah." I said, "You know what?" Because the thing is, like I said, many times I've done these tours, I have spoken to these people, I've interviewed them, I've gauged their professionalism, how polite they are, what kind of just basically the general vibe. And Dennis was always one of those ones that he's one of those ones instantly I could say, yeah, I could imagine touring for a week with him because he's a really cool guy. I've always liked him. And the bookings came in quite quickly, actually. I think we're about halfway there, but we've got 3 countries on board already.
Wow.
Yeah, so and I'm literally after we finish here filming here, I've got to go through the list of all the people that had bookings before, and I'm going to reach out to them and say, do you want him? Because I think by the end of next week we'll have the tour locked in and ready to start promoting. But Dennis deserves a tour though as well, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. He was competing in a very, very tough era with Phil Heath. I think Jay was even still competing toward the end. Branch, Victor, Dexter. It was a pantheon of guys he was part of, and we were fortunate enough to see him. I was lucky enough to see most or all of the shows he did in the U.S. And just tremendously popular, big dude. Those shoulders were always phenomenal, and we always got along. He was a Slipknot fan, so I like that.
Oh, was he? Oh, I didn't know that.
I think he was, because I remember you singing a Slipknot song at that Olympia that we didn't have the press passes for.
That was Five Finger Death Punch.
A 5-finger. He was sat right in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he turned around.
That's right. Yeah.
But he's still in fantastic shape. He's built like an action hero now.
He's got in really good shape. He's obviously downsized, but he's kind of like Jay. He's in good condition. Yeah. He's taking pictures with his top off and everything, and he's looking really good because he's got that outdoor gym, isn't he? He does all the personal training and stuff like that, and he's got a supplement company, and he looks in good. Thing is, like, yes, you think, okay, that looks like a much smaller version of him, but in real life, the guy's over 6 foot tall. He's still going to be a big guy, you know. So, and I think it's I'm looking forward to it. Actually, it's he's a cool guy, Dennis, and just pulling the tour together now. So it's been quite easy actually.
Is he bringing his new girl?
No.
Sometimes they demand to bring their partners with them. I know these people.
To be honest, I don't think I want to do that again. It's nothing against them. It's just the logistics and the I don't know. I just don't know whether I'll do that again.
It's another person you got to bring all over the place too. So
yeah. Plus, you got to add get a bigger car, and you got to add. It takes a lot of costings away as well.
Right.
So, we'll have a good time. Me, him, and Chris. We'll just be like me, him, and Andrew Jack last October. That was just like 3 mates just driving around the country having fun. It was training together, and it was awesome. So I can't wait.
Yeah, he stays very, very lean, super lean. So I say action hero. He could jump in an action movie tomorrow. Netflix, are you listening? Let's get this guy.
Yeah, he should. You know what? He should. I can imagine him in like a film or something, or some Netflix TV series or something. Yeah, he's kind of got like a Bond baddie look, isn't he?
Well, he's got that deep voice. He's got that Russian German, because he speaks Russian and German fluently. He's born he grew up as a young man in Siberia, and then they moved to Germany when he was, I think, 13 or 14. So yeah, he could be either a German bad guy or a Russian bad guy.
I'm going to say something really silly here. Somebody told me once that I competed against him.
What?
Yeah. Somebody, because I competed in the WPF European Championships in 2005 in Datteln in Germany.
Huh.
And I'm sure one of the team leaders or whatever, the Welsh team, he says, Dennis was in the super, because I was in the heavyweights and he was in the supers, and I think he obviously won. But I never checked the year. Because I don't remember seeing him there. I just remember being really depressed at how big everyone was. Because I was only a few kilos into the supers, so I was a little bit outsized, and everyone was half my height.
That story would have been so much cooler if you had beaten Dennis.
Yeah, what in Monopoly?
Exactly. No, so congrats on putting that tour together, and I believe have you rescheduled the Ronnie tour?
Yes, and we're just waiting for Ronnie to release it. They said they're going to schedule, because I sent the poster over with all the new dates on. We've given all the dates out, and they said they're scheduling it in. So it's probably going to be, they'll just literally just send me a message saying it's up, or I'll just see me, I'll be collabed with it. Okay. But yeah, that's all locked in now as well. So yeah, that was a weight off my mind, because obviously the gyms were waiting, they'd all paid and stuff like that. So I was really stressing for a couple of weeks there. Plus you're just waiting around, waiting for it to be approved, and then of course you're hoping that Ronnie's going to be okay to do it. Yeah, he's obviously a lot better now. So yeah, by the time that the tour happens, he's going to hopefully be 100%.
All right, last thing I want to talk about, because we haven't had a power hour together since this footage came online. So Samson guest posed last weekend in Romania. Thank you. People are going to slaughter me for forgetting that. And that was at exactly 6 weeks out from the Olympia. And we've both, obviously you followed him from day one of as soon as he came on the national scene in the UK. I've never seen this kind of condition on Samson at 6 weeks out before.
Hang on. Don't be fooled by more conditioned glutes and hamstrings. Otherwise we fall into the Derek Lunsford trap. Let's not get excited here. His condition is good, but it's not like it was when he was on stage at the Olympia last year in the finals. I think it's because we're seeing he's probably been hammering the glutes and the hams more, which makes us think he's in better condition, because we've never seen him like this before a show. Because the thing is, when has he ever guest posed 6 weeks before a show anyway? To my knowledge, I don't think that's happened. But I like the fact that he's going for condition, because at the end of the day, it must drive him I can't imagine what he goes through behind the scenes, reading comments, people just going on and on and on about condition. It must drive him and Marlena crazy. So I really sympathize with him on that, and empathize. But yeah, I mean, look, thing is, look at the condition of his legs now. I mean, his legs are separated, they're detailed, they're dry. And the thing is, like when I first saw it, I actually said, oh no, because to me, he looked a lot smaller. But in fairness, I think it's bad lighting. It's a dodgy backdrop. And also, he's not going to be carb depleting or carb loading 6 weeks before Olympia. He's just going to be coming in as he is. So when I looked at more footage and it was a bit closer, I thought, okay, he's serious. Obviously he's serious. He's Mr. Olympia, and he's not going to want to lose that title. I'll be honest, I do have him retaining it this year. And I think this is a very, very good sign to be in that condition 6 weeks out. Because already he's getting the cheekbones, which to my knowledge, I don't think I've ever really seen that on him. I've never really seen him with a drawn in face, in fact, he probably looks like the condition he was on the Thursday. Remember at the press conference, the Olympia last year, when we all thought he's fourth place, he's not going to make it. And then 2 days later, he just his physique it just all came together, and he won, and rightfully so. So what do you think, Ron?
Yeah, people were saying he's small, he's stringy, he's going to be a scarecrow on stage. But I tend to think, and I don't think him and Marlena have shared their strategy, but it looks to me like he's pulling really hard on the prep now. Yeah. I think he's on. Someone said his breakfast is just 2 eggs, nothing else, 2 whole eggs.
Well, when I stayed at his house, I remember Milos only gave him 3 eggs, because Marlena made me breakfast as well. And I ate more than him. And I went, and my stomach was still rumbling. And I thought, I just felt so sorry for him, because I've got a video on my phone where he's like pretending like he was making the most of every morsel. So I think he's one of these guys that has to really, really pull down hard on the food. I think he really does suffer to get in condition. He's probably one guy that not builds muscle easily, but it's easier for him to build muscle than to get really dry conditions. So I imagine right now he is digging so deep. So, and I really respect that, because if he's looking this good at 6 weeks out, he's I think he's gonna cruise in nice and steadily, and then I think he'll just start to fill out like he always does. But I think he'll be lighter, which I think we all want to see from, because the Arnold Classic, I know I'm going to get hate for this. His waist was a little bit wider, and the stomach was starting to distend again, which he didn't have at the Olympia. So I think he's, because the waist looks nice and narrow. I would expect him to be not bursting full at this point. Like you said, he's pushing hard for condition. Yeah. But I think by the time he comes into the show, he's going to look absolutely sensational. Sorry, I interrupted you there, Ron. Sorry. No, what do you think?
That's exactly, I always defer to you, because you've followed Samson much more closely. You saw him competing back at the amateur level before he turned pro. And we've seen this guy grow and improve over the years. And condition, neither one of us we're condition snobs. We've never been 100% satisfied with Samson's condition. And I'm optimistic that this could be the year. This could be the show where we finally go, that's it, Samson. That's what we wanted to see this whole time.
I do. I just hope he doesn't. I just hope he doesn't flatten him out. But the thing is, they're going to be paying such close attention to his physique. I think maybe he's trying to pull early so he can be ready early.
Right.
Because when you're ready early, as Dorian used to say this, you can manipulate your food, and also if you're absolutely depleted and ready, and all the fat and the water's off, you can then kind of like eat up into the show a little bit and monitor the condition very, very slightly. Yeah. So to get ready. Like, because I don't think I've ever, even though we've not seen him 6 weeks out on stage, I'm guessing from what my experience tells me that he hasn't been in this condition at 6 weeks out. So it means he's pulling hard now, like you said, and then he'll just try and probably cruise, and then probably just cruise up into the show. Yeah,
I mean, I'm really, really hopeful. He's it's a fantastic physique. He's Mr. Olympia. People criticize everyone's physique, so no one's perfect, but that is the one thing, the one factor that's been missing is that really impressive conditioning. And I feel sorry if he brings that and stays full. I just don't see anybody beating it.
I think they'll be planning this down to the T because they've got full control. They don't have to wait. For updates, Marlena can look at him every single day. They got their own gym. There's no distractions. They got this house in the countryside. Then everything's quiet. Quint's going to be off soon, so he's going to. Any attention on him is going to be fully back onto Samson. So, and I applaud him as well for guest posing that far out. Sorry, that close.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
But also, what about Wesley going open?
Well, yeah, he did say it. Very interesting. Did he actually say it, or did he just sort of hint at it?
I didn't watch the whole video, but I just kind of responded like instantly to, oh my God, you got to do it, because I think, I've seen him, with what I know about Wesley's physique, I think he'd surprise himself, and I think he'd surprise a lot of people if he went open, especially if he had a full year to prep as an open. I think he'd be absolutely sensational.
Well, we didn't think he just has no more room to grow, obviously.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I keep referring back to that guest posing he did 2 weeks out from the Olympia last year at the German. And obviously he was above his weight cap then because he still had 2 weeks to play with. And he looked amazing. And then when I saw the videos of him backstage at the Olympia, I was like, oh no, what happened? He went stringy. So the thing is, like, I've seen his legs up close because he trained his legs 3 times in that 1 week we did that tour last May.
Jeez.
And I'm telling you, like, I thought Wesley prep. And the thing is, don't forget he competes and preps as a classic all year round. But if you prep as an open guy, you do things differently with food, with your gear, with everything, with your training. I don't know whether his training will be different, but he's going to be looking to gain mass. And I think his body, like Urs, I think it's really ready to grow. And I think he could, because he's a big dude, man. And I'm telling you, I think he could hold a lot more size. So even if he just did 1 year as an open or 1 season as an open, and then early in the year, and then went back to classic, if it really didn't work out, or his sponsors or whatever said, look, we'd rather you be a big fish in a little pond than a minnow in the ocean, So, yeah, potentially, but he might go into a show fully grown and absolutely just be like, holy shit. Because you see him when he guest posed next to Samson.
No, I think, I remember it. It's been a while. That was quite a while ago, wasn't it?
And that was him as a classic. And he obviously wasn't in stage condition, but like, he didn't look like a twig next to Samson, who is Mr. Olympia, Samson was probably 320, 330. He didn't look tiny. Yeah, he didn't look tiny next to Samson.
Yeah, this was the Pittsburgh. Yeah, there you
go. There you go. To be honest, you wouldn't guess that one's. If I said to you one's classic, one open. like when you see Terence Ruffing next to Marc Hector in that video you showed you earlier, it does look like a classic guy next to an open.
Yeah.
But that looks like a Mr. Olympia next to a very, very good open.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's what I think anyway.
He'd have 0 restrictions on the weight and the size. So yeah. Oh, there we go. Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Can you believe that? That's pretty impressive.
It's Mr. Olympia he's next to.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I know they're at different stages, and one's just done a show, and so would Samson. It wasn't that long after the Arnold. So but it goes to show you that You know, the thing is with Wesley, it all comes off his legs when he makes the weight cap anyway, and it comes off his chest as well. Because I've seen him with his chest looking really big and full, and you've seen those videos of him in the gym when his shoulders and fibers are flickering.
Yeah.
And then you see him when he's like on stage at the Arnold at the Olympia, and you're like, ugh. It's still impressive. I mean, it's still good enough to win the Arnold Classic and the Arnold UK, but you're like, oh, it's not the best version. You know, it's like Flex Lewis, 4 weeks out, 226. We're not seeing the best version of him on stage. And I think guys like Urs and Wesley, you know, really, really going for it now in the open. You know, if Wesley is going to go open, you know, I think at the end of the day, as fans, you know, I know they have to compete tactically because they have weight caps, but to see them bring their best physique, I think is it's something that we need to see as fans, because we want to see them reach their physical potential.
Yeah. He mentioned in a post I just saw that he had surgery a couple weeks ago. Well, do you know what happened? What it
Hernia.
was?
Hernia.
Oh, that's nothing. Okay. No worries. Sound like a shoulder replacement or Okay. So Wesley, yeah, another guy a lot of people have been waiting a long time to see. What could this guy look like with no weight cap? So maybe we'll see that next spring. Yeah.
He could be like a 280 guy on stage. I mean, he's taller than me. I'm 6 foot. He's like at least a couple inches taller than me, and he's just a big man. He's just a really big guy, and I think it must hurt him. Maybe not as much as it hurt Urs, you know, losing 20 pounds or whatever, like he claims, you know, to make classic. But I bet those last few weeks are not fun for him when he's having to compete. And the thing is, he's been doing that the last couple of times, and he hasn't been getting the results he wants. So maybe, and he's still early 30s. I mean, he must think, God, I just need to do it once. I just need to do it so I don't have to worry about and be paranoid about the scale and you know, waking up and having in a cold sweat nights thinking about and having dreams about not making weight and stuff. You know, I bet they do though. I bet they do. I can imagine the pressure it is on these guys, man. I bet it's quite depressing actually. And the thing is, and the stress and the anxiety, and you've got all this expectation from the fans, the sponsors. I mean, can you imagine if someone like Chris Bumstead went to the Olympia and didn't make weight? What would happen then? We spoke about this, didn't we? I said, look, if they don't make weight, what would happen, say, if last year Chris Bumstead had been 3 pounds over and they said, that's it, the weigh-in shut? What would happen then? Would there be no Chris Bumstead on stage?
No, I mean, at a different show, at any other show, aside from the Arnold Olympia, they could just go into open, as we saw with Fabian Mayer did that. When he missed the weight. But at the Olympia, you can't. No, you have to qualify. So he'd be, as we say in America, shit out of luck. He wouldn't be able to compete.
Can you imagine, right? Something weird happened to Chris Bumstead's body. A bit of cortisol hits his body, retains a bit of water, pulls it from the air or something because he's completely dehydrated and drank water for a day. Can you imagine if he'd have done that and and they said, sorry, you've come to the end of the weigh-in. It's shut now. We can't make exceptions. Could you imagine if there'd be no Chris Bumstead on stage at Olympia? Could you imagine?
Conspiracy theorists will say they let him in anyway. They would just fudge it and say, yeah, he made it. But, I can't imagine the stress of being, say, 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out from your show as a classic guy. Your glutes are in, your face is all drawn, and you step on the scale and you're still 10 or 12 pounds over the limit. You're like, oh, what have I got left to lose?
I mean, to be honest, I think at that point, you know, when people sometimes they say it's healthier for them to go open. Say for Urs now, he's saying, well, it's healthier for me to go open. Yeah. And then the fans are like, how can that more gear, more this? Can in their mind, it's all about gear and body weight and stress on the heart. But if you actually look at what Urs has to go through to get to classic, if you know, like I said, what he's saying is bang on. You know, I'm sure he's telling the truth. But can you imagine, like, you know, that, like, okay, so 2 weeks out and you're shredded, dry, bone dry, and you've still got 15 pounds to lose. You're telling me that's healthy to get down, because you know what we'll have to do to get those 15 pounds off. You could probably eat next to nothing, fast for a week, and you'd still probably hold a certain amount of body weight. You're going to have to take really kind of like, hard diuretics, which, as you know, can pull all the electrolytes out of the body, the potassium, which can affect the heart. You know, I suppose in that respect, it is actually healthy for Urs to come into a show like this as an open. It's a much better idea, and for health-wise. I've
spoken, I'm not going to name names, but I've spoken to classic pros who told me that there were times when they had to go the last 48 hours before weigh-ins with no food, no water, nothing going into their body, not a crumb of food, not a drop of fluid. I can't imagine even functioning 2 days with no food. And no
you can't go 2 hours, mate.
It's like a survival story of someone being stuck in hanging upside down in an airplane wreck in the Alps or something. No food and water. But anyway,
the thing is, like with fasting, like normal people fast, they might only eat 2 or 3 meals a day. For some people, could do a week fast, a 2-week fast, or whatever. But when you're a bodybuilder and you've been prepping for say 12, 16 weeks, I remember I sometimes wouldn't even need to look at my watch or my phone to look at the time, because my body would go from not hungry to not just hungry, but really hot. Like your body's almost crashing.
Yeah.
And that's 6 times a day when you're prepping, because your body your body is saying, right, you've got to give me what you gave me yesterday. I'm expecting this food.
Correct.
So to do that when you're on top of no food is bad enough, but no fluid, I mean, that's very, very dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you're eating, just to backtrack, when you're eating super clean and super low carb, if you're having tilapia and asparagus as your 6 meals a day, which some people, that's what they do. You're starving. Like 40 minutes later, you're ready to eat again, but you have to wait another, to wait till it's been 2 hours.
Well, Ashley Kaltwasser, when she came over on that tour with us, she did Spain and Romania, and she did the tour in between. Literally every single meal she had was chicken and asparagus. That's all she had. That's all she had for those couple of weeks.
Well, I believe it.
Breakfast.
Gross. Poor girl. No, she's not poor girl. She's got like 35 pro wins, right?
There's nearly 60 now.
Is it nearly 60?
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. I'm way behind. Bikini people, go ahead and roast me in the comment. Go for it.
I think it's like 56 or 57. I'm sure it is. Am I right? Yeah. Yeah. It's like 50. She's over 50. I think I've got 56 in my head. I might be wrong. Maybe 53. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But it's over 50.
Do I have to find out now?
Yeah.
Gosh. I just don't want to, because people are going to, say, you idiots, you don't follow. It's Ashley K. Fit. I'm just one. She's got 962 followers. Ms. Bikini times 3. She's won the Olympia 3 times. She does not have it in her bio, so sorry, Ashley.
Oh, come on, Ashley.
You didn't give us the answer on your Instagram.
She probably get sick of updating it every week.
That's true. All right, well, that is going to wrap it up. We've been going for over an hour. So, guys, if you want to check out the show on Sunday in Milan, pay-per-view info is going to be on ifbbproitaly.info, not .com. So make sure you get it right. And if you want to follow Giles and get all the info on the upcoming Olympia All-Star Tour with Dennis Wolf, those dates will be announced fairly soon. But if you follow Giles, you'll know exactly. And the Ronnie Tour, when that's up and running again, you're going to get all that info on Giles' Instagram. And you can follow me just for shits and giggles. I'm Ron Harris Muscle. So that's it. Tiger, thank you so much for doing this all over again. This is your forte, your wheelhouse, these European shows. And you will be in Sweden in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks time. I'm the lead live stream host, because Ashkan's can't be there to live stream. Yeah. So he's so they've had a meeting this morning just to go through all the script and mention, because you got to go through they're very organized. They like to mention the sponsors, and they've got a script and so you do it in your own words and stuff like that. Keep all the sponsors happy and keep everyone mentioned and kind of acknowledged. So it's just pretty straightforward stuff. But it ain't my first rodeo.
Yeah, no, you've done. Do you think you've done like 50 live stream commentaries by now?
Not that many. Not that many.
Feels like it's been a lot, but they've all been very good shows. I mean, high-level shows. Romania, Prague, Italy, Spain, all over the place.
Austria, Sweden. I just like going to the different countries. I love it. I really, really enjoy it. And the thing is, like some of these days, like some of the amateur shows, like 12-hour days you're talking for. Ooh. And it's I know what to expect though. So the first couple of times when it was hard. I mean, that one in Spain, we went to Emilio's show, and there was one point it was a 2021, because Ashley was with us, because Ashley was sat because she was competing. And I remember that I had to take a break from, I think it was one of the classes, and I had to lie down on the floor because I was like it was so hot in there. The aircon wasn't working properly, and I was really keeling over. But I know what to expect. I'm a pro.
All right. Well, guys, that's going to do it. So drop some comments below. Give us your top 5, your top 3, your winner, whatever it is you want to talk about. The pro show in Italy happening Sunday. If you want to comment on Samson's condition, anything you want to comment on, comments are good for my YouTube channel. So please, even if you want to say Giles' head is too big and Ron is a moron. Ron can't even pronounce a French name. he needs to go back to college and learn some proper pronunciation. So whatever you want to say, we're all good for it. That's it. Thanks for watching Power Hour. We will see you right here next time.